Good morning, guys of grade 9. Today, inshallah, we're gonna complete section 2 of chapter 5. We're still talking about heredity or the traits and inheritance. So, as we studied the experiments of Mendel in the first section, we start to explain the results of Mendel in that section, and we finally reach at some point that Mendel already suggested. Okay, so actually, till that moment, we find that Mendel was able to explain the results that already he got in his first experiment and second experiment. He suggested that each trait is controlled by a pair of genes or two genes, one from father and one received from mother. And then he suggested that okay, during formation of gametes or during formation of gametes, okay, alleles are gonna separate, okay, which give a chance of new combination of gametes. Then here he's already used that Punnett square to represent the different probabilities that could be produced of the combination of gametes or the possible combination that could happen in a kind of reproduction. So last time already we know how we could answer a problem or how we could solve a problem of genetics. We said that dominant trait, okay, we must determine which is dominant, which is recessive, and dominant trait is expressed by the capital letter, okay, or the first letter, while the lowercase letter represents the recessive one. And then we determined how to recognize or differentiate between the phenotype and the genotype and find the probability by using the Punnett square. Today, inshallah, we're gonna continue our section, so we're gonna pass to what beyond Mendel? Okay, actually, not all the cases or not all the situation of heredity just follow the Mendel manner or just follow the Mendel rules. Some cases, okay, actually they out of Mendel rules or they follow another way or have another way of passing the traits. For example, the first thing of all, we have something called incomplete dominance. What mean by incomplete dominance? In that case, okay, that different in incomplete dominance we have two genes that control the trait, like as Mendel said, but actually no one of the two genes is dominant over the other. Both are equal in strength. So like this, once an heterozygous individual receive two different alleles from the parents or receive two different forms of the parents, no form is gonna be expressed or no one is gonna hide the other. So what would happen actually? The two forms will be blended, mixed, and produce a new phenotype. So let's take an example to clarify the idea for you guys. Everyone, look at me here carefully. So regarding to the Mendel said, okay, here okay, we said that each trait is controlled by pair of gene. We agree about this. Even in incomplete dominance, the trait is just controlled by pair of gene. So in certain kind of plants like that, or in something like snapdragon flowers, okay, or four o'clock flowers, we have this kind of incomplete dominance. So what the idea? That mean here, if we get a red flower, okay, and this red flower is crossed with white flower. So like this, we have two forms of that trait, red and white. Okay. So what would happen actually? We find that the first generation, 100% first generation is pink flowers. Okay. So how that? That's not follow the Mendel rules. Yes. Okay. It's different. Okay. That's why we said it's not a case of, or it's not a Mendelian case. We call it non-Mendelian case or beyond Mendel cases. So what happens here, okay, in normal situation in Mendel, suppose once red is gonna combine with white. So if the red is dominant, so the first generation is supposed to be 100% red. If the white is dominant, so suppose that the first generation to be white. But actually in this case, red is mixed with white and produce a new phenotype. So that's the key word, new phenotype. This new phenotype is just kind of blending or mixing of both parents' phenotypes. So in this case, we call this incomplete incomplete dominance. So what I mean by incomplete dominance, guys, means here there is no allele is completely dominant over the other. That means there is no allele could hide another other allele. So in that situation, we're gonna find here we have three phenotypes, while in case of Mendel we just have two phenotypes because one is dominant and the other one is recessive. So here, let's take an example, or just let's try to symbolize the idea. So in that case here, we said that the red flower, we're gonna give it R capital, R capital. Okay, so that's represented by red flower. While we are gonna find that the white flower is gonna be represented by W, W. Okay, So why we use different letters? We usually to use the same letter, um, uppercase and lowercase. Yes, that's in case of Mendel, okay, because Mendel just referring that one is dominant and the other one is recessive. But here, because both are equal in strength, so each one could be expressed by his own letter. So red is not dominant over white, and white is not dominant over red. So each one could be expressed by his own letter. So like this, R capital with cross WW. So this one, once it produces gametes, just pass one allele, which is R, and the other one will pass the other allele to the offspring. So the offspring, its structure will be RW. So what is this RW? Actually, RW is a mixing between red and white, so it will be a pink color. Okay. So here, like this, that's the first generation. The question is now, what are the probabilities or of the second generation, or what would happen? What would happen if we allow the plants of this first generation to self-pollinate or to cross with a similar plant? So in this case, let's find RW will be crossed with another RW. So what the results will be? So the first one, it will be okay, RR. Okay, so that's the first one will be RR. Second one will be RW, and that will be also RW. And the last one, okay, first will be okay here WW. So what are the probabilities we have? In this case, we're gonna have three different phenotypes. So we have just 25% they will be red, 50% they will be pink, and finally here 25% they will be white. So what happened here? Actually here the heterozygous individual, they represent a new phenotype which is not found in case of Mendel. Okay, so here like this, that's what meant by incomplete dominance. And the incomplete dominance is just certain traits found in some organisms. Not all organisms could represent this kind of inheritance. So as we said, that just happened in snapdragon flowers or 4 o'clock flowers, some kind of plants that just exhibit this kind of inheritance. So in exam or in question, how could I differentiate between complete dominance or Mendel cases and incomplete dominance? So simply the keyword, if you find that there is three different phenotypes, it means it's incomplete dominance, because in case of Mendel, we just have two phenotypes, the dominant one and recessive one only. But here, in case of incompleteness, we have three different phenotypes in which the heterozygous individual, which receive two different alleles, represent a new phenotype, which is a kind of mixing between the two phenotypes of the parents. So, like this, guys, that's how you could differentiate between incomplete dominance and complete dominance. So then we pass to the second one gene and many traits. What I mean by one gene and many traits? Sometimes we could find, okay, or usually, as Mendelssohn, he said that always the trait is controlled by one gene or a pair of genes, one received from father and the other from mother. Okay, so that's the usual. But actually, sometimes we have one gene that control many traits. And usually, we still know that the gene just responsible for one trait only. But actually, sometimes one gene may control many traits. For example, the gene of albinism, or the gene which is responsible for the formation of melanin pigment. Okay, this pigment which already give the color of your skin, the color of the eye, the color of the hair. So like this, okay, for example, when we find albinism, like albino tigers, which are they look white, okay, striped by black lines, and they have blue eyes. Even albino rabbits, albino humans, okay. So this means one defect in the gene is not just cause a defect in one trait, it causes defect in many traits. So it changes the color of the eye, change the color of the skin, and change the color of the hair. So like this, one gene only is responsible for many traits. So that's also something not like Mendel, because Mendel one gene for one trait, but here one gene for many traits. The other case here, we said that many genes but one trait. Sometimes we have something called polygenic trait. What I mean by polygenic trait? A trait which is controlled by many genes, not just one, like in Mendel case. For example, like what? Okay, like the height, like the weight, like the eye color, like for example the skin color. So the different traits which have a wide range of phenotype. For example, the skin color, we could find that people are varied in their skin color from the completely white people to the completely dark skin people. And also we have a variety in the eye color, the weight, and the height. So that means this trait is hardly to be controlled by just one pair of genes or just one gene. It's controlled by many genes. The genes could be found in the same chromosome or even in different chromosomes. So like this also that different because in Mendel just one trait is controlled by one gene, but here in that case one trait is controlled by many genes. The last thing that is not follow that Mendel, okay, that some traits is already affected by the environment, okay. So that means some traits is, or mainly the traits is controlled by the genes, but actually some genes their expression gonna be work or not, or they're gonna change their expression regarding to the environmental conditions, okay. So here like that's okay, for example the aquatic fox, we find that its hair color change in seasons, okay. So actually that's this ability of change is already found in its DNA, but this kind of change is a kind of response or adaptation to the environmental conditions. So here represent how the environmental conditions could affect the expression of a trait, okay. So like this guys, that end of our section, please study it very well. If you have any question you can contact me anytime. Thank you, goodbye.